The grand chamber of the Galactic Assembly stretched across 3 kilometers of floating crystal platforms. Representatives from 412 species had gathered under the pale blue glow of artificial suns. The air hummed with translation devices working overtime as delegates whispered among themselves. Today was different. Today, the youngest species in the known galaxy would stand trial. Ambassador Elena Vasquez walked alone toward the central speaking platform. Her footsteps echoed against the polished stone floor. She wore no armor. She carried no weapons. Her simple dark blue uniform stood in stark contrast to the elaborate ceremonial robes worn by the alien delegates surrounding her. Behind her, somewhere in the visitor gallery, the entire human diplomatic corps watched in tense silence. The Supreme Arbiter, a towering being of crystalline structure, known as High Counselor Vethron, raised 3 of his 7 appendages to silence the chamber. His voice resonated through thousands of translation implants simultaneously. The Assembly recognizes the representative of the species known as humanity. You stand before us accused of crimes against galactic stability. Your species has been part of this Assembly for merely 43 standard cycles. Yet in this brief time, you have caused more disruption than any species in recorded history. Elena remained perfectly still. Her face betrayed nothing. Counselor Vethron continued, his crystalline body pulsing with light as he spoke. You have violated 17 trade agreements. You have refused to submit your military technology for inspection. You have expanded into 3 star systems that were designated as protected reserves. And most concerning of all, you have begun constructing vessels capable of faster-than-light travel without authorization from this body. A murmur rippled through the Assembly. Several delegates made sounds of disgust or disapproval in their native tongues. The hegemony of 12 demands immediate sanctions, announced a serpentine creature from the eastern platform. Ambassador Kathax of the Valori Collective slithered forward, his scales catching the light. Humanity must be contained before they spread further. Their aggression knows no bounds. Their ambition threatens us all. The Communion agrees, added a cloud-like entity that drifted near the ceiling. The Ethereans rarely spoke in assembly meetings, but when they did, others listened. These creatures multiply at alarming rates. They consume resources without thought for future generations. They make war upon each other even as they smile and offer friendship to outsiders. Elena listened to each accusation without interrupting. More delegates joined the chorus of complaints. The Machinery Collective cited unauthorized reverse engineering of their technology. The Botanical Union accused humanity of introducing invasive species to 17 garden worlds. The hive consciousness of Xerxes demanded compensation for diplomatic incidents involving confused human tourists. For nearly 2 hours, the accusations continued. Species that had never agreed on anything found common ground in their distrust of humanity. Old enemies became temporary allies in their shared desire to see the young upstarts punished. Finally, High Counselor Vethron raised his appendages once more. The Assembly has heard the charges. Representative of humanity, you are now permitted to speak in defense of your species. Choose your words carefully. The future of your people depends upon what you say next. The chamber fell silent. 412 species turned their various sensory organs toward the small human woman standing alone on the central platform. Elena Vasquez took a deep breath. She looked around the vast chamber, meeting as many eyes and visual receptors as she could. When she spoke, her voice was calm and clear. No, the single word hung in the air. Translation devices across the chamber struggled to convey the simple rejection. High Counselor Vethron's crystalline form flickered with confusion. I do not understand, he said. You must present your defense. This is the protocol. Elena shook her head slowly. I said no. I will not defend humanity against these charges. Not because the charges are true, but because this entire proceeding is a performance, and I refuse to participate in theater. Outrage erupted across the chamber. Delegates shouted in dozens of languages. Some demanded Elena be removed. Others called for immediate military action against Earth. But Elena simply stood there, waiting. Her patience was unnerving. Eventually, the chaos subsided enough for her to continue. "Let me tell you what I see," she said, her voice carrying easily through the translation systems. "I see an assembly of ancient species, some of you millions of years old, gathered together to judge a species that discovered fire only yesterday by your standards. I see empires that have stagnated for millennia, terrified of a people who went from horse-drawn carriages to starships in less than 300 years. She began to walk in a slow circle, addressing different sections of the assembly as she moved. "You call us aggressive. The Valori Collective exterminated 4 intelligent species during their expansion period. The records exist in your own archives. You call us greedy. The Machinery Collective has strip-mined 6,000 star systems, leaving nothing but dead rocks behind. You call us dangerous. The hive consciousness of Xerxes has absorbed and destroyed over 100 unique cultures, erasing them entirely from existence." The chamber had grown deathly quiet. Elena continued without mercy. "Every single species in this room committed atrocities during their growth period. Every single one of you did exactly what we are doing now. The difference is that you did it when there was no one to stop you. You spread across the stars, took what you wanted, and only created rules once you had secured your positions. And now you expect us to obey rules we had no part in creating. Rules designed specifically to prevent anyone from ever challenging your dominance." High Counselor Vethran's form flickered rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation. "You dare to lecture this assembly? You are infants. You know nothing of galactic history." Elena laughed. The sound was sharp and genuine, and it seemed to disturb the delegates more than anything she had said so far. "I know exactly what you are afraid of," she said. "You are not afraid of our military. Your combined forces could destroy Earth in a matter of days. You are not afraid of our expansion. The galaxy is vast enough for 1,000 species to grow without ever meeting. You are afraid of what we represent." She paused, letting the silence build. "Humanity will not be contained. We will not wait patiently for permission to exist. We will not spend 10,000 years slowly creeping toward the stars like good little children. We are going to reach out and take our place in this galaxy, whether you approve or not. And the thing that terrifies you is that you cannot stop us. Not really. You might slow us down. You might even defeat us temporarily. But we will keep coming. Generation after generation. We will learn from every failure. We will adapt to every obstacle. We will never, ever stop." Ambassador Kathax of the Valori hissed loudly. "Threats will not save you, human. You have just condemned your species." Elena turned to face him directly. "That was not a threat, Ambassador. That was a simple statement of fact. Let me offer you something else to consider. Every species in this room has been trying to figure out why humanity advances so quickly. Your scientists have studied our biology, our psychology, our social structures, and none of you can explain it." She smiled, and there was something ancient in that expression despite her youth. "I will tell you the secret, free of charge. We are not smarter than you. We are not stronger or more creative. We certainly are not wiser. But we have something none of you possess any longer. We have hunger, not for food or resources. We hunger for tomorrow. Every human child grows up dreaming of things that do not yet exist. We are never satisfied. We are never complete. The moment we achieve something great, we immediately begin planning something greater." The Etherian representative drifted lower, its cloud-like form condensing with interest. "This hunger you describe, it sounds like a curse rather than a gift." Elena nodded. "Perhaps it is. Perhaps we will burn ourselves out. Perhaps we will destroy ourselves chasing dreams that can never be reached. But consider this. In 43 years, we went from a single planet to 17 colonies. In 43 years, we learned to build ships that nearly match your fastest vessels. In 43 years, we have gone from begging for scraps at your table to standing here, refusing to apologize. She walked back to the center of the platform and faced High Counselor Vethran directly. You asked me to defend humanity. Here is my defense. We are exactly what you fear we are. We are young and reckless and hungry. We will make mistakes. We will cause problems. We will upset the careful balance you have maintained for millions of years. And there is absolutely nothing you can do to change that. So you have a choice. You can try to destroy us now, while you still can. Start a war that will cost you dearly, even if you win. Or you can accept us as we are. Work with us instead of against us. Help shape our growth instead of trying to prevent it. She spread her hands wide. In 1,000 years, humanity will be the dominant power in this region of space. That is not arrogance. That is mathematics. We grow faster than you. We adapt faster than you. We dream bigger than you. The only question is whether we reach that position as your allies or your conquerors. The choice is yours. The chamber remained frozen. No one spoke. No one moved. Elena had just told the most powerful beings in the galaxy that humanity would eventually surpass them, and she had done so without raising her voice or making a single explicit threat. High Counselor Vethran finally broke the silence. His voice was quieter now, almost thoughtful. You are either the bravest representative who has ever stood before this assembly, or the most foolish. Elena shrugged. Probably both. Humans usually are. The vote that followed was the most contentious in assembly history. 304 species voted to impose sanctions on humanity. 87 voted against. 21 abstained. The sanctions passed, but they were far weaker than originally proposed. Many delegates had been shaken by Elena's words. They had seen something in her eyes that reminded them of their own ancestors, back when they too had been young and hungry and reaching for the stars. Elena Vasquez walked out of the chamber with her head held high. She had not won. Humanity would face restrictions and obstacles for generations to come. But she had planted a seed of doubt in the minds of ancient empires. She had shown them that humanity could not be dismissed or controlled. As she reached the exit, the Etherean representative floated into her path. Its translated voice was gentle, almost kind. The assembly will underestimate your species for a long time, human. They will believe that you can be managed, that you will eventually settle down and become like us. Elena looked up at the drifting cloud. And what do you believe? The Etherean seemed to shimmer with something that might have been amusement. I believe I am glad that my species is very, very far from your expansion zone. Good luck, Ambassador Vasquez. I suspect you are going to need it. Elena smiled as she walked toward the transport bay where her delegation waited. Behind her, the Galactic Assembly was still arguing about what had just happened. Some called for war. Others counseled patience. A few brave voices suggested that perhaps, just perhaps, the humans had a point. It would take 300 years for humanity to prove Elena right. By then, the Galactic Assembly had become the Human Galactic Cooperative, and the species that had once tried to contain humanity now competed for the privilege of being called allies. Historians would later point to that single day, that single moment when a young ambassador said one word that changed everything. No, sometimes the shortest answers carry the greatest weight.